We are here in Baku at COP29 in the second week in Azerbaijan. And today we wanted to have a quick conversation on this issue of unilateral climate labeled trade measures. The significance and impacts of it are quite far reaching. One prominent example of a unilateral climate labeled trade measure is the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, or the CBAM, which has recently been introduced by the European Union, and which other countries like the UK are also rolling out in a couple of years from now. CBAM has become a very controversial policy tool. The European Union has some very strong arguments on its side in terms of its reasoning for imposing a tool like this to prevent carbon leakage and to spur global decarbonization. But developing countries and even some developed countries who are trade partners of the EU have been very unhappy about the CBAM as a policy tool. Trishant and I recently published a report on the impact of the EU CBAM on countries of the global south. So Trishant, you're a co-author on that report. So do you just want to talk about what is CBAM and what were the key findings of our report?
Thank you, Avantika. So basically, CBAM, or Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, is a EU introduced policy that basically puts a carbon price on the imports of goods that the EU does from other countries. And that carbon price is based on the emissions that takes place during the production of those goods in third countries. So essentially a carbon tariff. Now, the EU's reason for introducing this was that the EU is introducing carbon price for its own industries domestically, and it wants to have a level playing field for the products that come from outside. And this is something called as addressing carbon leakage, and this is what the EU wants to do. Now, for EU, this might be a measure that wants to complement its domestic carbon policy, but it has unintended implications for developing countries,
Yeah.
which the developing countries might not like. What we found when we were doing our study for India was that this EU CBAM puts a carbon price that is equivalent to about 25% of the product value when assuming a carbon price of 100 euros per ton of carbon,
Right.
which
Just
is,
yeah,
yeah,
just to get into the specifics of that, on average, if you were to assume €100 per ton carbon price, and assuming that 100% of the cost is borne by the exporting country, then the tax burden effectively is 25% over and above the value of goods being exported to the EU, is what
exactly.
our study found. So essentially, the impact of the CBAM is not small. It's yet to be seen specifically how it's going to affect specific industries, where the burden is really going to be felt along the entire value chain of different sectors. Now, coming to COP, why are we talking about CBAM at COP? So just before COP29, the basic group of countries, Brazil, India, China, and South Africa, put forward a proposal to the COP29 presidency to add an agenda item to the official conference agenda at COP29. This proposal basically asked to add an agenda item called Concerns with Climate Change Related Unilateral Restrictive Trade Measures, and identifying the ways to promote international cooperation in line with the first GST outcome. And we as CSC, we supported this idea, and we felt that it's very relevant to actually discuss this issue at the UNFCCC. And specifically, why? I mean, maybe you can add a little bit.
Yes. So why this is important is also because the UNFCCC, or the convention that was signed on climate change, the principle of the convention under Article 3 prevents developed countries from bringing in any climate measures that will have discriminatory impacts on developing countries, especially in terms of unilateral trade measures. And this is why this space becomes important to discuss such issues.
Yeah, and specifically, if you think about the current trade regime, the WTO, or the World Trade Organization, is equipped to deal with some issues related to developing countries, such as principles of special and differential treatment and other some provisions. But the WTO is not equipped to deal with the question of carbon emissions, which have an element of historical emissions, historical responsibility, and common but differentiated responsibilities. So CBDR is not currently recognized or addressed within the WTO regime. CBDR is already written into the UNFCCC and, in fact, the Paris Agreement as well. The Paris Agreement does not mention unilateral trade measures, the UNFCCC convention does. So now the question is, will developing countries have this issue discussed at climate summits in the future? It didn't happen this time. So, this agenda item proposed by the basic countries was not put on the final agenda of the conference. There was resistance from the European Union, particularly. It was referred to the COP29 presidency for consultations with heads of delegations and the parties themselves. And since then, discussions have been going on behind the scenes. What we've heard is that there has been resistance from European Union and similar groups to kind of move this issue further, and developing countries are not happy about this. So after the basic countries made their proposal, the biggest bloc of developing countries, G77 and China, which represents, by the way, 134 developing countries, 80% of the world's population, released a long and powerful statement in support of the basic proposal. One of the points in their statement says, creating restrictive, punitive, coercive and discriminatory climate action in the form of trade restrictions, whilst at the same time not enabling and providing financial flows, is an unsavory attempt to try to continue to subject our developing countries to underdevelopment, deindustrialization, and put us in a position of both not being able to address climate change or our socio-economic development goals. That's a pretty powerful statement, and it really captures the kind of anxiety that developing countries are raising on this issue. So I think the bottom line is, for organizations like us who are trying to amplify issues relevant for the global south, we are not against decarbonization in the global south. We strongly believe in the urgency of mitigation, decarbonizing various sectors within developing countries. But this decarbonization has to be enabled with financing, technology support, capacity building. A measure like CBAM is a unilateral measure that essentially transfers most of the burden of the cost of decarbonization onto developing countries. So, in effect, it's delaying and slowing down the climate transition in developing countries.
Moreover, it's also a unilateral trade measure.
Yeah.
So not discussed multilaterally. Plus, it does not respect the foundational principles of climate justice. That is, as you said, equity and CBDR. So these are all the issues that are embedded in this kind of discussion as well.
Right. So, in conclusion, to wrap up, this issue is not going away. It's been discussed at the BRICS summit. It's been discussed in the G20 Rio Declaration, which came out yesterday. It has come up at various UN high-level forums, and I think the developed countries, particularly the EU, will have to start reckoning with the impacts of its own policies like this at some point and truly hear the voice of developing countries. So we'll bring you more on this issue as developments happen.